Picture this. You're a landlord and you've got a tenant who's stopped paying rent. You've tried to work with them, but months go by and nothing changes. You serve notice, you follow the law, you go through the court process. You get a possession order, you do everything by the book. Finally, you think it's over, but just as you're about to regain possession of your property, the council steps in and tells your tenant to stay put. And when the eviction is finally enforced by bailiffs, it's you the council turns on. They treat you like a villain. Well, this is the reality for landlords all over the UK, and it's happening more often than you think. In today's video, I'm exposing how councils are using intentional homelessness rules to punish landlords, the financial emotional toll it takes on legal landlords, why this broken system helps no one, not even tenants, what changes need to happen now, and what landlords can do to fight back. If you want real unfiltered property content that tells it like it is, do me a favour and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into it. The council's strategy, shifting blame. Let's get something clear up front. Councils are not neutral here. They're under immense pressure to reduce homelessness numbers, meet statutory duties, and keep people off the streets. And they're using every trick in the book to shift the pressure elsewhere. One of their favourite tactics, weaponising the term intentional homelessness. Under the Housing Act 1996, councils only have to help people who are homeless through no fault of their own. So if a tenant gets a Section 21 or Section 8 notice and they choose to leave, councils often say, "You made yourself homeless. We don't have to help." But if the tenant stays put, ignores the court order and waits for the bailiffs, now it's different. Now the council has to step in. They can't say that the tenant did it to themselves. And that right there is the loophole councils rely on. They literally tell tenants to stay until they're physically removed, because otherwise they can wash their hands of the responsibility. And who ends up carrying the cost of the delay? You, the landlord. But here's where it gets worse. Some councils go one step further. Even after the eviction is done, they tell the public and sometimes other departments that you caused homelessness. They punish you, the person who did everything legally. Why? Because it's easier to dump the responsibility onto landlords than to fix the root cause of the crisis, the lack of social housing. A 2023 NALA study found that 1 in 5 landlords had been affected by councils advising tenants to ignore eviction notices. That's tens of thousands of landlords caught in the middle of a broken system. Real world examples and council behaviour. Let me give you some real world context. Landlord forums across the UK are full of horror stories, and here are a few examples. A landlord in Manchester evicted a tenant who hadn't paid rent in 11 months. The council told the tenant to stay put. After the bailiffs came, the council refused to rehouse her and blamed the landlord for causing her homelessness. In Lewisham, a landlord issued a Section 21 and followed all legal processes. The council told the tenant to ignore it. When the landlord complained, they were told, "We don't have to explain our advice to tenants." A landlord in Birmingham had a tenant trash the property and ignore court orders. The council refused to help the tenant unless she stayed until bailiffs came. When she did, the council helped, but said the landlord could be investigated under HMO licensing breaches. These are not isolated cases. They're happening every week across the UK, and landlords are often left with unpaid rent, property damage, court fees, months of delays and no support. All because councils are gaming the system for their own benefit. The toll on landlords: financial, emotional, legal. The cost of a standard eviction in the UK can now easily exceed £10,000. Lost rent, £6,000 to £9,000 on average. Legal fees and court costs, £1,000 to £2,000. Property damage and repairs, £1,000 to £5,000. Council tax on empty properties. And let's not even start on the time. Landlords spend months, sometimes over a year, trying to reclaim their own homes. And when councils blame them afterwards, it's a slap in the face. The emotional toll is just as heavy. Landlords report stress, anxiety, depression, even giving up entirely. Many are leaving the market altogether, fed up with a system that treats them like villains. Why the system is broken for everyone. This isn't just bad for landlords, it's bad for tenants and councils too. Tenants are misled. Councils tell them to stay put, but that just prolongs the stress. It encourages conflict and damages their relationship with landlords. Councils are short-term thinking. By avoiding responsibility today, they make the market worse tomorrow. Landlords leave, supply drops, and rents rise. Homelessness increases. The longer the process takes, the worse the housing crisis becomes. Nobody wins in this system, except maybe the person balancing the council's housing budget. Is this legal? Yes. Is this right? Absolutely not. Let's be honest, most of what councils are doing is technically legal. They can tell tenants to stay until the bailiffs arrive, they can deny support under the intentionally homeless clause, but that doesn't make it right. It undermines the court system, it punishes law-abiding landlords, and it treats tenants like pawns in a political game. Councils should be helping both sides navigate the crisis, not escalating the conflict. What needs to change? The government must act now to fix this. Make it illegal for councils to advise tenants to ignore court orders. Scrap or reform the intentional homelessness rule. Force councils to intervene earlier, not after bailiffs show up. Protect landlords from being penalised after legal evictions. Speed up the court process and eviction timelines. Rebuild social housing so councils don't have to rely on landlords as a crutch. What landlords can do right now. If you're a landlord stuck in this mess, you're not powerless. And here's what you can do. Document everything. Keep written records of every notice, conversation, payment, and action. Demand written communication from the council. If they're giving tenants questionable advice, get it in writing. Councils hate being held accountable. Join NALA or a local landlord group. They offer legal advice, campaign for change, and provide community. Go public. Local media outlets love stories about councils' failings. Shine a light on their behaviour. Use rent guarantee insurance. It's not perfect, but it can cushion the financial blow. Challenge intentional homelessness decisions. If your tenant is penalised for following the rules, support them in appealing. Landlords and tenants both deserve better. This isn't just bad policy, it's cowardice. Councils are avoiding responsibility by blaming landlords, punishing legal behaviour, and pushing the housing crisis further into chaos. If we want a fair, functioning rental market, this has to stop. So, tell me in the comments, should councils be banned from advising tenants to ignore eviction notices? Have you been blamed for someone else's homelessness, even after following the law? And if you're tired of the council games, the delays, the blame shifting, do me a favour, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one.